Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're revisiting an old video where I break down the advanced settings in Days Gone's photo mode. Enjoy. Days Gone advanced photo mode settings. I've had some requests to just run down what they all do because it's a bit bewildering. So I'm going to break that down now for you just in a kind of a simple way to help you. Okay, so advanced settings. So we have the basic settings here, which are all kind of contrast, brightness, etc., tilting. But the advanced settings, here we have color grading, so temperature. Okay, what temperature is obviously self-explanatory. You move it up, it warms the image, so it's oranges, yellow effect. Go all the way down, we go blue, green, turquoise. It's kind of white balance. When you take a photograph, your camera normally chooses the white balance to try and balance it. So that's a way of changing that. Tinting. It's really two colors. We go up on the slider, it goes purple. Is it purple? Yeah, I should know that off by heart. And we go down, it goes green. Again, this is for micro changes in your color balance on your images. If an image is too green, move the tinting up and it might balance it off. Doesn't mean it will make it look purple. Brightness, we all know what brightness does. It makes it brighter or darker. It's the same setting as it would be on the basic one. Now this contrast slider is different. In the other one it's just one bar. Here we have three. So here we can change contrast for red, green and blue. So here's the main contrast slider. It does all of the levels of contrast. If you want to change contrast in a more micro way and adjusting red, green and blue tones, you can do it. Slide the red up or slide the green and the blue or two together, see what happens. It will make the image more contrasty, but it will affect the color toning while you're doing it. So it's good if you want to change contrast, but you don't want to change contrast of all of the color tones, because contrast goes up and it affects all of the colors. So here we have three layers that we can adjust in different directions. So try combining them and see what you can do, because it can give you more of an advanced quality in your contrast. Saturation obviously changes the color levels in the image. So we take it all out, it technically goes black and white. We go all the way up to the top and it just makes it really, really, really overly colorful. So it's just a thing to adjust when you need to add or remove color. Vibrancy doesn't have quite as much impact as saturation. As we can see, it's like a sort of halfway house between saturation. Like I've put it right up there, but it's not like too strong. But again, saturation is more heavy-handed. Vibrancy is a bit more subtle. So you just have to try which one. Gamma, okay, red, green, and blue. Gamma again. These are just subtle changes that you make to the whole color image, really, as you can see. So it affects the entire image this time. If they're all in the same line, they won't have a big change in color, but like the gamma goes up, it makes it brighter. It kind of acts like a fill light a bit. Makes the shadow areas brighter if we move them all in synchronized ways. But obviously if we move one slider more than the other, it will make the color change depending whether it's red, green or blue. If we moved all the gamma down, it would probably drop the shadow element. It would make it more shadowy. We move it up, it makes it more bright and washed out. So again, it's just trying to experiment with those. Gain. What do we do with gain? Well, let's have a look. Gain is not too dissimilar from gamma, but again, it's not so much affecting shadows and brightness, it's more just color. So if we gain the blue, it will just make everything blue. Whereas with gamma, it's affecting the brightness and the darkness as well. So this, if I move all these up, it's just going to make things red, green or blue, or less red, green or blue. It's more linked to saturation than contrast and brightness. Okay, what have we got down here? Offset. So offset is I don't really use it a lot because it's so heavy-handed. It's like, it just brings in some red or green or blue. Like if you feel like your image needs just a kind of an extra boost of one of those colors or a combination, it can add it there. But as you can see, it's very extreme, very extreme. So I tend not to use it too often. Vignetting, obviously, Vignettes are kind of shadowy borders of the image. The idea of a vignette is to focus the focus the viewer's eye on the center of the image. So obviously that's a very extreme fall off. You don't want that. You want to raise the fall off a bit because then it will give the center more brightness. The idea of a vignette, is to focus your eye on the center of the image, on the subject. Depth color grading. Now, depth color grading, it's all about the near objects and the far objects. So we have tinting, saturation, and gamma for near and for far objects. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It splits the image in two. So you have the background and the foreground. So what you can do is you can change the level of saturation or the tint, like the purple green, or the gamma, the brightness and the darkness of the shadows. You can change them for the near objects and the far objects. And then we have the transition depth and spread, which affects whether it's a clean 50-50 or if it's a graduated, 60-40 split. Depends how soft you want the balance. Do you want it very much everything in the far ground is one color and everything in the near ground is another? So here, for example, so I'm changing the green on the near tinting here. And so as you can see, Deacon and the wood is close to the camera. And saturation, like I go green, so all the greens in the frame are going to go up that are close to the camera. If I go down, everything green that's close to the camera will go down. Everything red that's close to the camera will go down. Everything blue will be desaturated. So it's kind of desaturation. We go the other way, we bring the color back. So that's kind of, you can change how saturated close objects are with that. With the gamma, it's the same as the gamma on the other slider. Like we raise it all, it kind of becomes more of a contrasty, color-based with the near elements. We go down, it will become more washed out. So if we put them all down, it would be very sort of washed out. Anyway, far tinting, so this will be the sky. So we can change the tint of the sky. So we could make it orange if you wanted to have a full sunset or something. Like that's just an extreme example. That's way too much, We do that one down, it will go blue. We go up, it will go blue. We go down, So play around with them, and it will change the tinting of the far off regions in the image. Okay, so we'll bring that back to kind of neutral. And then far saturation is pretty self-explanatory, but you can take red, green and blue out, or you can add red, green and blue. So it depends if you want to make the background more saturated or you want to make the background less saturated. And if you want to make it less saturated in one way like that, we've taken all of the color, it's kind of muted the color in the background, so it's kind of now sepia. Let's reset that. And then the far gamma acts the same as the near gamma. We go up, it becomes more kind of contrasty with the color that we're sliding. And if we go down, it would become less contrasty, become more washed out. It's complicated. I wouldn't necessarily use this on every image because I don't really think it's necessary most of the time, if I'm honest. So once you have a transition, you could kind of change the depth. The transition depth will depend whether it's a 50-50 split between near and far, or you want to make it more of a smooth transition. So let's, for example, let's change the near stuff to a really bright color. So that's ridiculous, red. And then we'll go far, and we'll change the far tinting to a ridiculous color. So again, that's just a very bold demonstration. And then with the transition depth and spread, let's slide these to see what happens. So, okay, that didn't change too much. But here, look, if we see, like, you can change whether it's clean difference, so, or you can, it's blended. Really just play around with it until you get the right configuration for you, because it just depends what your ideal is in the image, what you're looking to do. So that's really the additional advanced features. There is another one with blooming, which I don't really use myself and I don't find it particularly helpful. So I may do another tutorial on that, but these ones I've gone through today will help you with some advanced settings. You know, you don't have to use them all on every image, but they can give you some extra little tools to make the image look more the way you want it. Okay, so that was the advanced settings tutorial. I hope it's been useful. Please like, subscribe, comment, give me some feedback, and I'll try and do some more tutorials for you soon for Days Gone. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.